making the magic
I've got the
happen.
comments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
All
Daria.
right, ladies.
Oh,
Hey, we are live. We are streaming.
Yes.
Are we ready to go? Look at that.
me waiting for the light to turn green. Guy holding cardboards.
What? Oh, all right. So we're live, and welcome to everyone. Happy May. We are at the end of the month. We are approaching a holiday weekend. So let me just find out how you're all doing, and we can get into this fantastic book. So how are you doing today, Shanice?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's been an awesome day. I've been reading all day, trying to read as much as I can.
Nice.
And enjoying some of the story.
All right. Good. Daria, how you doing today?
Listen, I am wonderful. Looking forward to the holiday weekend, celebrating all the graduations and progressions that are happening with the young people in our lives. So all good, all good.
Awesome. How you doing, Danielle?
You know, I'm trying to keep the stress level down. A lot going on at the work with the graduation for them, then my kids' graduation. I went to a new dermatologist that treats black skin today, and she was blonde hair and blue eyes. I was like, oh my gosh. So, you know, I'm open for new adventures.
I love that. Good. We can all have different focus and interests. Perhaps
I drove an hour and a half, but she was wonderful.
And maybe she has children with brown skin.
You know, good point.
Because she, based on where you went today, that's a town full of multiple types of relations. So it's possible, likely probable. But anyway, I am fine. I'm excited for the weekend as well. It's so nice when the family is doing well. I just got a phone call from my parents who didn't understand why I didn't have a drink because they were calling me from the bar. So, you know, life is wonderful. Everybody's well.
I thought about you and your parents. Not to interrupt you, but I know I just did. I apologize.
No.
I thought about you and Mark. Y'all are real similar to your parents. Like y'all are enjoying each other, going out on the weekends. Like it's really beautiful. Like I see you two in your parents. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, no, thank you. So they were shocked that it was Thursday after 6 o'clock. I wasn't drinking yet, and they wanted to know when I was getting started. So it was quite funny because I guess they were missing us next to them at the bar stool, but that will be next week. So, but everything is good. I'm really excited about warm weather, just in general. It makes me feel so much better. I think it's just a mood changer. So, welcome to our friends who are in the chat. I know, shout out to Alana, shout out to Elisa. Sorry to miss you on screen tonight, but please send your comments as we get ready to talk about this pretty awesome book that has gotten rave reviews. You know, I like to look at the reviews. You know, I like to look at who was reading the guest list, which list. And this has been on quite a few lists in the past year. So, and a pretty new read also. So let's get into it. So, did you like the book?
Shanice, your sound.
Some technical difficulties for Shanice. Go ahead, Danielle.
I like the book. I agree with some people that said like it was a slow start or something. But then there were some like, oh, like this is interesting, where it entertained me. Ultimately, that's all I'm looking for. I'm not a critic intentionally. I try not to be a critic because I just want to enjoy it. Right. So it was okay. I don't know if I'm like, oh, you got to read this book. I definitely wouldn't suggest it like that to anyone. But did it entertain me? Yes. And I want to find out what happened? Yes. Was it worth me reading it? Yes.
I like that. What about you, Daria?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked the different chapters being in the different characters' voices, and I kept finding myself wondering, when are we going to hear from Will? Because they had left him out, his perspective out till so late. So I like that. That would to me was even more suspenseful than kind of the plot, the main plot line. itself
Mm.
is how the author was going to introduce Will's perspective. So I enjoyed it.
Good. No, good. Shanice, are you on the phone? Are you able to?
I'm doing both.
Okay.
Cool.
Can you hear
All
me?
right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Alana said, hey, and she said, yes, she liked the book.
Good.
And I like the book too. I like the different characters and just like seeing what they were thinking. And that's it.
I like the book too. I like the different perspectives. And I really do like when a book kind of comes together. And for me, this book, like, I guess it's probably why I'm feeling like I'm ready for the weekend. I'm ready for summer, because it was a really nice light read where I didn't have to do too much digging and unpacking. I really got a lot of the perspective from the characters, enough to make me feel like I got to know them enough to get, at the end, I understood all of their points and positions. So I did enjoy that. So what did you think about Jules? I mean, we hear a lot from, obviously she's the bride.
Oh wait,
so
could I don't want to interrupt, but Lana texted
in,
and she says she likes the backstory, and she felt like she was reading a season of How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah. So I mean,
you know, I thought it was nice. I felt like I was on vacation. Like, I felt like I wish I was there in the beach or the cave, and then it filled with water. Like, you know, it was like, it was a good book to read this like summer or going into the summer, or probably right now.
I think it took place. And I think it took place in June, even though it was in Ireland, island off of Ireland. So it was, still kind of cold. But I think the way that they were describing the place, especially when the weather was perfect, like when the sun was out, it just reminded me of like being away and having like truly a destination wedding. So, I mean, if we think about Jules, like, as the character and all the people connected to Jules, like, what did you think about her?
I thought she was just a bridezilla.
Really? Why?
Well, like just even from the beginning when she was like looking at that dress and like wanted to touch it with her gloves and just, and then nobody really kind of wanted to be around her. It felt like not even her own sister. So, I was just like, and she wanted everything perfect. And yeah, I guess that's the way brides are. I never had opportunity to do that. So I don't really know, but
I'm not like
I could
that.
look at it like as a bridezilla, maybe.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about her? And
I felt Jules was like naive, like, you married this dude so quick, which, I mean, I've done that too. Luckily, it wasn't like a Will. I didn't marry Will, but I mean, they didn't know each other, that long. Then they get, engaged or to get married. I don't know. Like, she was just real naive. Like, I know she had doubts, but she just ignored them. And, and she should ask, like, maybe what's up with her sister? Like, are you just blind to how other people are feeling and what they're going through? And so you're right, Shane. I don't know. She seemed like probably self-absorbed, I guess.
Yeah.
Or superficial too.
Mm-hmm.
Just superficial. It seemed like, I mean, she was worried about the wrong stuff.
Yeah. Well, she was worried about the wrong stuff. I think she wasn't really tuned into people's feelings. And I think, that whole eagerness and quickness to want to marry Will, it was almost like she felt like it was almost too good to be true, although she felt like she deserved it. So between, that good term, the bridezilla, and then this, overly self-absorbed person, but then, then you meet her parents and then you're kind of like, does that make sense? Like when you meet her parents, how they,
like her dad, right?
Her dad and her mom said, I'm proud of myself for raising a very independent daughter at the rehearsal dinner.
Yeah,
I mean, her mother was like,
oh yeah,
the toast was like so weird. Like, I feel good about me. I'm proud about, my parenting, like A for me for parenting. I thought,
well, but didn't she knew what to expect. She was just waiting for something like that. So it's not like she was even caught by surprise. It was just like, to be expected.
Yeah, she knew her mother. She knew her mother for sure.
Well, Alana had some perspective here too. And she wanted to say, where she leave off? Oh, you see her as a very rigid perfectionist, and later you'll understand why. And Alana says she always felt unwanted, was teased, and was chubby. She needed to complete. Wait, she needed Will to complete what she thought was the perfect picture. She needed to create a feel good about herself.
Yeah. I mean, and how many people have we, come upon in life who a lot of what they do and why they do it is based on like what other people are going to think or say about their action.
Yes. Like self-esteem is serious, y'all. Like,
yeah.
if you don't have it, get that. Your self-esteem.
Yeah. But think about Will. So then you meet Will and think about Will's Will was missing some of that self-esteem too.
And he sounded gorgeous the way they described him.
Right. But then his relationship with his dad being the headmaster and being like such a difficult person, you see kind of like Will was scrounging at, trying to be great so his father would be proud of him. But look at his behavior. It manifested in really taking advantage of women.
And men.
His best friend. Like Will didn't care about nobody but Will.
Yeah, manipulative.
Very, very much so. So I think, in terms
why
of
did he have to be black though? Like, why did he have to be black?
Who?
Jono.
No, Will was the black one, right?
No, John.
Oh, I thought Will was black. Okay, maybe I.
No. I think Jono was.
Oh, okay, good. I thought Will was
Jono or another one of his friends.
Of the friends. Yeah, I thought it was Jono who was black, but maybe it was another.
Okay.
But one of them were
one was
because it was.
Oh, I thought it was Will, so that changes it all. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, Will was tan to her pale, so they were
she said, "Isn't that a sociopath?" Is what she said. Alana said.
Oh, Will.
It sounds like probably.
I mean, he has a couple of things he could check next to that definition. I think. Yeah, no, for sure.
Oh wait. She said Demi. He was black or Femi, Lemmy.
Oh, Femi.
Black Femi.
Oh, okay. So
that was a friend, Femi?
Yeah, it was one of the friends in the group, that they used to play the tricks on and all of that. Yeah. I mean, so like, was there any character that you liked?
The sister.
Hannah?
Was that her name?
Yeah.
Jules.
No, that wasn't her name. Hannah was the friend, right?
Hannah was the wife. Olivia. I think it's Olivia.
Let me see.
I wrote all my characters down.
I know, I did too. Yeah, it was Olivia.
Olivia. So you liked her. Olivia. I
just felt like bad for her. Like, she was trying to hold this in and probably trying to like protect her sister, but then she's dealing with this, has to see this man. I guess I just felt like empathy for. No, Hannah, I ain't like her. She should have busted her husband over the head with something. So no, I didn't like her, but I did like the sister.
We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, I felt bad for Olivia as well, and I thought it was so how we deal with trauma and tragedy and abuse and all of that. She became a cutter, and I thought that was such a vivid vivid description where she was self-mutilating because of all that pain she was in. And obviously showing up and meeting your sister's fiance, that was such a quiet thing, right? She was all really quiet, and then you see this man who you knew had a different name, that you met on a social media platform,
gave you a full baby.
Yeah. And then you blame it on your ex-boyfriend and your mom takes you to terminate it. That was a lot. Like that was very, very, very troubling for her to go through all of that and still have to walk down the aisle to get her sister married to this man. And
Alana felt bad for Olivia too.
Yeah. Well, and I felt bad. And I thought at that point when we find out that Olivia is the one who drops the note, she really thought that would stop her sister.
Yeah.
And it's like,
her sister's about the show.
Yeah.
And Will looked perfect probably up until that point, Absolutely.
She didn't know up until that point when she saw their heads so close together that there could be
Well,
something going on.
He
Well,
presented
something had
well.
me-
He looked, huh?
Well, something had me curious about him because the way he was filming their sex scenes and just the sex scenes is like, he was a little questionable. Like,
No, the way they had sex so much, I feel like, are they sex addicts? Like, to me, sex like this is too much. It's like not healthy. Like, who was raped here? Who was something? Because this is not normal. And we didn't get that part. But I know.
I think he strategically picked like people he knew that he could, you know, like all abusive people do. They prey on people who they think are the perfect targets. Like when he said to her that he like, you're not going to say anything. Like you've waited this long. Remember towards the end, like he was like,
so arrogant.
Yeah, like he knew how like the weakness in her, and that's probably what led him to pick people like that. And in a lot of ways, Jules, even though she had the outward bravado or bravada, maybe for a woman, she you know, she had the same kinds of fallacies.
She did. She did. And him being kind of like the pinnacle of everything that would be amazing. So you don't want to believe any of these things anyway, because you've built this man up in your mind so much.
And everybody else did too. Like he's a celebrity.
Exactly. His friends too. Yep.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was very interesting.
You trade him in, somebody's gonna be right there to pick it up and go with him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I thought it was interesting that Will was so nervous about Jono, you know, making a speech. And, you know, then of course they end up whisking him off and all of that. But he knew that he had troubled and put that, you know, that man in a really compromising situation. And he wasn't sure when it was going to come to bite him back, you know, which of course, you know,
what about Will walking in when she's in her wedding dress the day before? That was like, get out. Like that showed he did not respect boundaries at all.
Possessiveness, right? Like all the possessiveness. I mean, all of those signs of an abuser, you know, no time alone. And, you know, for her, you melt like putty every time the man touches you because you're so grateful that someone's paying you attention. Someone thinks you're beautiful, you know, to your point earlier, you know, Alana, about, again, that attention seeking behavior because you didn't have it because you were bullied as a kid, you know, transfers into this other action and behavior that you just make yourself available and at the ready for this man.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. His reaction, Will's reaction when he knew that Jules invited Pierce, the producer, that also was like, that was telling, like, you knew something was up. Like, why is he? And then he tries to play it off like it's not, like he was fine with it, but clearly that was like a huge clue. and it just, like instinctively, I'm like, okay, something's wrong with that. Why is he reacting like that? And did she do that on purpose to like test his reaction? Like maybe instinctively too. I don't know.
Well, what do you think that was about? You know, his relationships with men seems to be, you know, like an interesting balance of like super, you know, he was the fun one. He was the glue, they kept saying, to keep them all together.
Yep.
But Piers, you know, he did hire him. So why? I thought his reaction was interesting about that too.
They're like frat boys just doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. But
that chant, the school's chant, that was a freaky scene. Like when they were like getting drunk and remembering the whole chant from the school, and it's very demonic.
It was right. It reminded me of like that part of Lord of the Flies.
Oh yeah, that's what they said in the book.
Yeah, that's kind of what it means.
One of the things Alana said was that Jules just didn't seem to care about him like that. Like she just was about the persona. I'm sorry, I'm a little delayed.
Oh no. The persona is true. I mean, for sure.
Oh, and
thinking about the external.
It's like when you're telling Jono to stay away from Olivia, and was way over the top. She thought was way over the top.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good point because they were probably telling him to stay away from Olivia because he don't want Olivia to tell him like, I know who that dude is.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, he was trying to manage everything. All the options.
Or be territorial. Like I had that. That was mine.
Right.
I don't want
but
you
he
to
traded that in. He didn't want that. I don't think it was about like I had that, I pissed on that, don't piss on that. He didn't care about that girl, but he was just like, I can't let this out.
Yep.
Have you two be friends
and Elise is with us too.
Hey, Lisa.
And she said, I loved when Pierce said Will was not likable by men because he's too perfect.
Yeah.
Is that true? Are men like that? I don't think so.
I mean, Jono was basically saying that, like, everybody liked him, but they don't really know him. You know, he got
wasn't perfect.
but everybody else thought he was. And
Right.
Jono was almost like the outlier, saying, like, I know you're not perfect, but everybody else thinks you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Alana said Jono hadn't flirted with her at that point, but he didn't want anyone to hear near what was his.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, no,
I think she meant Will.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm in the same camp as Alana, but what Danielle is saying, it was just he didn't want them to have any conversation and maybe talk about their history. Like Jono has a history with Will. Obviously, Olivia has a history with Will, aka Steven. You know, so yeah. So I mean, so when we think about now the relationship Jules has with her best friend who's a guy, right? And Hannah is the wife. What do you all think about, you know, Jules and him? And, you know, I mean, she gets drunk that night and kind of says whatever she's thinking about, like, you know, we could have been together, but, you know, you didn't want me or whatever. And
yeah, problematic. He should not, first of all, they shouldn't have even been at the wedding.
Preach, girl, preach.
Like, why are you there?
You should not invite someone you kissed, you had sex with, none of those things.
Yeah.
And then
you keep that separate. Keep it separate. Cut the ties.
Like,
move on.
Of all days, this is the day to like.
Yeah.
But he was her best friend.
Elise said she wanted to know more about Jules and Charles or Charlie.
Yeah.
Like more of their backstory.
I don't know how much of a backstory there was.
I don't believe that it was only one time. You know, it said that, you know how Hannah accused him, like, you know, and then he was like, just once. Yeah, well, okay. No.
Yeah, right.
It's never just once. It's like when the doctor asks you, how many drinks do you have a week?
Right.
You say 1 a day, they multiply by 3. Like
they do.
Like, no, you're not having one. And like 1 to me is too much.
Well, yeah, I mean, but Hannah could feel it. She could feel the chemistry, and she knew that something had gone on. And I mean, she was in tune with her husband. And it seemed like every time that Jules was around, Charlie, you know, he wasn't really interested in her.
He was not attentive.
Well, and wasn't that who they didn't what was her name? Ife or whatever, did the wedding planner?
Yeah.
When she walked in on the two of them and she knew something was up too.
Yes.
Because they were all close then. They didn't even like, you know, startle.
Yeah. Like I think her leg or her arm was on his leg or something. And they're just like, oh, we're just going over his speech or his MC duties. Like what she was like, oh, okay.
Right.
If you have to explain it, then that's a problem.
But I thought what was funny to me was that we don't hear who the guest is that she walks in on in the room. Like the two people.
The two married people
who are married to other people, and she knows that because of the seating chart. I thought that was funny. And then it made me think, like, have you been to that kind of a wedding with all of those moving parts?
No.
I bet we've all been to that kind of wedding, but we just don't know.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Oh my.
And Lee said to always trust your women's intuition.
Absolutely.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Well, maybe we did know who that was, because wasn't there kind of a revelation about who was dancing with the person they didn't know and was getting flirted with by somebody else's husband? And she was like, I'll just kind of lose myself. Wasn't that Hannah?
That was Hannah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was the two, Hannah and that other man who she was dancing with. Remember, like they were dancing. She was feeling some kind of way. I think the two of them slipped off.
Oh, maybe.
And she felt justified. This is my theory. Okay. My theory alone. She felt justified because she was feeling some kind of way about Charlie and Jules.
Yeah.
So she's like,
that's possible, because she was acting up. She was acting up.
She was
They
drinking.
said Hannah. They said it was Hannah and Lewis. Hannah and Lewis.
Oh, Hannah and Lewis. Oh, so that was
Yeah.
the guy's name.
I think, yeah, I couldn't remember
hey.
his name, but yeah, I think, yeah.
Just
Well,
when your
how do
husband's not attentive, like, you know what? I mean, I don't think that equals go off and sleep with somebody, but it would make her probably do what she did, maybe.
Yeah,
Right. Being
yeah.
her
But he
feelings.
also
for
didn't
sure.
want her, remember?
That's what I was saying. Like every time he got around Jules, he
Yeah.
said he didn't want his wife. I mean, she was
That's
like, this is
true.
going to be our weekend away. And we've had kids. All we do is schedule and program for these other people, you
True,
know,
right.
and
She didn't even realize she was pretty. She didn't think she was this
No.
pretty. Like she was sort of shocked by the attention she was getting.
yeah,
Mhm.
because she hadn't gotten any compliments for a long
But
time.
that guy she's messing with is gonna give her an infection and all those things because he didn't care that her husband was there. Like, what kind
Right.
of dude is that? Like,
Right.
Well,
girl,
I do-
Where was that guy's wife? Where was she?
she gonna need a full Z pack, take all the pills.
Now Alana
all
says
14 days. All 14.
right.
Actually,
Do
I'm
not
making
skip.
it up. I don't know how many.
Yeah, I
days.
think it's like 5 days. You take 3 the first day. I don't know.
I mean,
You
we
know.
don't know all the details.
No,
We're
but Kaya
talking
just had her
about-
teeth out, so she had
Oh.
her wisdom teeth. It was like a 5-day pack. I
Yeah,
don't even know if that
see?
helps with STDs, but
Clearly, we're not doctors.
right.
It is clear we're not medical doctors.
Alana says when they were at the bar, his friends started talking about what was likely Hannah's sister, and then she got sick. So prior to that, it seemed like it was going to be them in the room, but then they never made it. She found out it was the one that released her sister's sex tape.
Yeah. So
No.
Hannah was drinking
yeah.
with those guys, and they were talking about Will being the kind of guy who always taped women he had sex with. So that's why Hannah, she ran outside. She fell to her knees. She threw up because Hannah was drinking with them, and she's like, "Oh, I'm the belle of the ball, kind of. I'm, in the middle of all this attention." And then she finds out that, oh my goodness, Will is that guy who released it. And then they're like, "Oh, it's probably on Antique Pornhub," and they were talking about her sister.
Yep.
What I thought was interesting is how, again, obviously Will is the central character with so many issues, has created, a horrible life for all of these different characters. So throughout his whole life, he was like this, and it's like you get to a glimpse, obviously, at his father, but like, what else? In my mind, I was thinking, what else happened to him?
I was going to say thing like something happened to Will.
Yeah.
For him to devalue sex the way he does, for him to manipulate people, even for him to want to record the sex and like he needs to share it with people. Why is that not just like an intimate thing between you and the person you're with?
Right.
I have a thought. I wonder if there always has to be something that happened, or if it can just be that it's a bad seed.
I feel like something always happens.
Remember that movie Damien, that evil kid?
I don't know that movie.
Damien was like this like demonic little boy. The parents didn't do anything to him. He just was demonic like that. And he was like, causing all kinds of chaos, and he might have killed a pet, and he did all kinds of evil things. But anyway, the point is, I just wonder if there always has to be an explanation, because despite the parents' best attempt, now not in this case, but
right.
I think there can be cases where kids just are wretched.
So
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But
all my experience with kids, like it always goes back to like when he was in second grade, his dad
childhood trauma. Yeah,
well,
some type
Alana
of traumatic
says
experience.
He's a sociopath, and Elise says society creates these people.
Interesting. Well, and, society and or your family.
Also said
people that your neighbors or
She said he knew he always had something on everyone to be able to have that leverage. Yeah, it seemed
manipulative. I mean, and that is where the classic like sociopath behavior comes in. But
more attractive people get away with more things. Like they describe them like so attractive. Like,
and the fact that Jono takes the rap because he's the one taking the knife out of him. And I mean, obviously we find that the thrilling part of all of this is like, you know, FA, or I think, I can't remember how they said her name. She's the one, of course, who's Darcy's sister and has been carrying around this family sadness burden of where her brother has been, you know, murdered. Let's call it what it is, right? By Jono and Will. Will wants to forget it. Will takes all that he's done with, you know, with Jono as a child, turns it into a money-making actor series.
Yep.
And Jono feels guilty, of course. This is why he isn't really amounted to much. Will's father berates him even at the wedding, like, oh, well, we didn't know you were, you know, we weren't sure how you were going to turn out. And, oh, look at you.
Yeah.
And
well, going back to what Danielle said about manipulate, like his childhood, that's what Alana was saying, that he gets that from his father, because his father manipulated so many situations as the headmaster in his favor, and he got to see that. So like Elise said, he was so privileged. And then Alana threw in pretty people have privilege. But yeah, I think it comes from his childhood.
As humans, I mean, I think that's what we do in our society. I mean, if you think about it, again, why has, you know, the groundbreaking plus size model been something that's like recent? Or, you know, I think of Winnie Harlow with her, you know, with her vitiligo, making a statement when she got America's Top Model, like pretty people, whatever that quote, like whatever quote unquote pretty is to any of us, we know that there is a standard in society, that there's an expectation that people get put on a pedestal for that. And so everybody does, you know, kind of kowtow to that. And the father, to your point, you know, Shanice, what you were just reading, you know, he did. I mean, he knew something happened to that young boy, Darcy. He covered his son's tracks and, you know, basically said it was like, it was a sad, you know, accident. But I'm sure his father knew more to that story, you know?
He did, because the cops were involved, right? But Will's dad was friends with the police officer.
Yeah.
But I also think pretty only lasts a little bit of time. Like, that's why he probably had to marry that girl so fast before, you know, that don't keep nobody that long.
Right.
So I'm thinking he's like, you know, I'm gonna be on her magazine. We're gonna make some money. I mean, even the whole idea how they even got there, they were pretty much, you know, doing this wedding to be different, to look like they were exclusive, to make it seem like they were doing more than, and it really was, it was a nice, elegant, quaint wedding, but, you know, making it more than it was. Did you think it was interesting? I think, so this is the question. Which part of this, you know, story shocked you the most?
I would say that Steve / Will had sex with Jules' sister. Like, I didn't expect that. I didn't really expect Will to be such a horrible person, but like, just that there was a connection with her sister, like, dang, like that's too close.
It's super close.
Yeah.
I
mean, I guess I was expecting Jono to be the murderer.
So it was shocking that he wasn't.
I thought he did it.
Okay.
I didn't see the twist coming.
Shanice, what about you? And then Alana and Alisa, and I'll tell you which one I thought.
Yeah, I agree with Danielle. Like, I definitely didn't expect it to be that like deep with her sister.
That's unforgivable. Like,
oh yeah. And I'm so glad that Jules, you know, turned it around at, you know, the end and hugged her sister and said, I'm so sorry. I didn't know, you know, you were going through all of this. I thought that was a really loving moment. For me, the shocking, one of the shocking parts, obviously the wedding planner, which, you know, you all know me, I love to plan an event. So I was just like, wow, you know, like when you have all the details, when you know, like all the things, like putting it all together, you could like create some, you know, and get your revenge. But I thought what was interesting is who she married, you know, knew her brother and was at school with all of them. I thought that was like shocking to me, just like the little twist where she's like, you know, you remember the person you used to call, like, you know, that, that's him. He's the cook, you know? And I thought that was shocking. And he seemed to love her, you know, beautiful, like a beautiful love that they had with each other, you know.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah,
to me was
I
like
didn't
a
see
good
that,
twist.
you know, the I guess that you're reminding me of the part where the seaweed was in the bed and they couldn't
Yes.
figure out who put that in there.
Yep.
I mean, that was when it clicked that she was the one that had done that because
Yeah.
she knew the inside little pranks that they had. I was like, oh,
Right. When she was like, oh, you guys used to call each other by your last names or whatever, you know, or first names, or you didn't know my name. And, you know, my brother was writing to me about his friends.
yeah,
That to me, I was like, that was shocking. Like she knew he was being bullied. She knew he was not having a good experience, and she didn't know how she could, you know. And then her husband saying like, I pretended I was asleep. They couldn't move me. And I'll never forgive myself because they took him instead of me. You know, I thought that was because at some point in the book, they said she was a little older than him. And he was, maybe he was Will, like, I wonder how he got her, you know, of course, because he was at being a jerk. Like, yeah, how did this beautiful woman, you know, end up with somebody like him?
Our YouTubers, they have some opinions too.
Oh yeah, weigh in.
Okay, so Lee said Olivia and Will was her surprise, and Alana said Juno tried to save him at the end. She thought that was like interesting. I guess how she tried to save Will at the end. And then Elise also added, I can't say her name, Aof being the sister.
Mm-hmm.
That was her surprise too. So she had two.
Yeah.
Now I wonder, how do they go home? Like, they go home. How does this look? The people who can go home, people aren't dead. Like, Will's not dead.
well,
I mean, Will's dead, I'm sorry.
Ife now is relieved for one.
Yeah.
I mean, she had the patience and the restraint
And the plan.
to be like the ultimate chess player in this situation.
That's true.
And so, you know, when there's all those, like you said, Keisha, all those moving parts, like she's got to be relieved that her plan, as complex as it was, came together.
I know. And then Hannah feeling relieved that Will is dead.
Yeah, but Will's dead, but that leaves the wife for her husband.
Oh, Jules and Charlie.
Yeah.
Well, but I think
so what happens when they go home?
Aren't they going to split up, you think?
No, I don't think they're going to split up.
I agree. I think they're going to work it out. They have kids.
No. Oh, Hannah and Charlie. I think the one's going to be with her husband again.
Yeah. Jules.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you don't think that Hannah and Charlie are going to go to counseling and they're going to work? No.
They'll go to one counseling session, realize like, okay, we're good, and then go do what they do and just settle.
Yep.
That's what I believe.
Alana said to her, it was a surprise that, if you think about it, is Jules met the same night that he tossed Olivia aside. So maybe he was plotting on their family, I'm thinking.
Maybe that's the one thing. Yeah, I think that's messed up though.
I was reading online that somebody said, well, he had to have seen pictures of her sister in her apartment or something when he went over there. So he could have been.
Could have been. I mean, because they met at that event. So ultimately, like, why do we think that Jono takes the blame or doesn't fight against this whole idea that he did not murder Will?
Because he doesn't know if he did or not. He doesn't even, he thinks that in a fit of rage, he might have done it.
Yeah.
Remember? Like, because he was confused. Like, he wasn't sure.
Yeah, he was so angry.
And he felt guilty. He felt like, this is my, the burden I have to bear, to make up for what I did, maybe.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it. Like, I should have got caught the first time, I didn't. You know what, this time I'm just going to take I think Jono was a good person. Like, he didn't mean to be caught up with Will, but.
I think he was the underdog, and I think getting, having the popular guy take you sort of under your wing, his wing, but really to manipulate, not to really be friendly and nice and caring. I think you get caught up in that, like, oh, how could I have such a cool friend or whatever it is, and then you realize, like, oh my goodness, like, he didn't make me a part of this movie deal, this sequel deal. He didn't really do these things that I thought he was, and here, look at my life,
Mm-hmm.
And then Alana said that he feels like he deserves punishment for loner also.
Right.
That could have been what was held over his head. Like he had a conscience.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, were you happy with the end, or did you see it ending a different way?
I didn't need anybody to die. Like I didn't need Will dead.
I thought I liked it. It caught me by surprise. And it's a book, right? I mean, so I was like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. And I kind of felt like, they didn't leave any huge loose ends. They left you kind of wondering. And you could interpret, but it wasn't like an unsatisfying level of open-endedness.
Right. You know what was interesting? It was the morning of the wedding when Hannah goes out to call her mom, in the place where there was reception, and her foot gets stuck. I thought that was what I was, I thought she was going to be the one. I don't know why, who was going to die. And I don't know what made me think that, but I mean, obviously good writing, nice spin, and change. You know what I was also thinking is, what was the last book where we read, this is a psychological thriller, which we love, where the man dies?
Yeah, good point.
Good point. Yeah. Look at you, Keisha.
I was like, go ahead, Lucy Foley, with this one, because I'm trying to think. Like, he is, we always say, like, it's always the guy, but he was doing, the guys in our past books, they've always done, but they've never been like killed.
Well, I think there was one where it was like the two people conspired together to kill the husband because of what he had done, and they did it so that it would look like an accident or something. Or maybe I'm making this up, but I thought there was one we read.
I mean, maybe there was. I couldn't think of anyone recently in our psych thriller category that was like, I was thinking, I just couldn't think of it.
Type in, Alana probably knows.
Yeah,
no,
Alana,
I have it. I was waiting for you. I didn't want to keep cutting in.
Alana
has it. But wait, before she says, I tell you the name of the book. She said that, Elise said that I think Will knew what was going to happen to the boy. And Alana said, I wanted Will to have a worse death, like stoned by everyone, thrown from the cliff. Everyone did a happy dance. Like, she went a little dark on that one. And then the name of the book was There Was a Man That Died in You. I guess y'all read You.
That wasn't the one I was thinking, but
and then Elise said, I felt like it was a bit murder mystery, like at the end, but I liked it. It was a good point, Keisha.
Oh,
but the main character didn't die.
Yeah, the serial killer. Right. He killed the boyfriend, so
he did kill a boyfriend, but
right. But like,
so you're right. A man did die, but
a man died. Yeah, but he killed him so that she wouldn't be able to have access to him anymore, and maybe turn that into a passion for him. But yeah, no, I couldn't think of one, and I thought, my goodness, in terms of the ending, when I was looking, it was so funny again because this was on so many big book club lists. Everything was like, well, what do you think about the story being told from all the 6 different points of view? I think like that's like any like soap opera, any like really good movie, you always get different perspectives, but which character do you like, you're going to kind of follow what happens with that one the most closely when you have a book that has all the different perspectives. That's why I always ask, like, what character did you feel sorry for, did you like, because really poor Olivia, she needs therapy. Jules everybody needs a couple of sessions here now. After
right, how's it gonna look when they go home? Like, who's getting the sessions? Who's breaking up? Like,
right.
Who's getting together?
Right. I mean, 48 hours changed their life. And Hannah says that on the boat. Like, Charlie was so helpful, with her seasickness, and now they're on the boat heading back to like.
And you done cheated on me. Like, don't touch me, don't rub my back. And I'm like,
right. And a lot of the reviews that I read online, a lot of people didn't like the ending, and that's what Alana said. She felt like the ending was just too blah, and they didn't think that it should have been the wedding planner that killed him. It should have been someone else. A lot of people thought that, but I understand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the little twist to that, but I mean, I think that's why you
Yeah,
have to.
and she played the long game. That's what I like about it. She played the
Right.
long
That
game.
was chess. That was definitely chess. That was like,
I mean, even to the point of how she attracted them to that place.
yeah.
Mhm.
I
She was like, I'm
mean,
making no money on this, but
yeah,
it's
she
worth
had it
every
all
dime.
planned out.
Right. The expensive wedding cake, all the details to make this bride happy. She's like, I'm not going to make any money on this,
Mhm.
but it is going to be all right because I'm going to get them on this island, my family, vacation home, that I made this island into a destination,
Mhm.
all to get these people there.
Mhm.
I was crazy. I loved it. I love that part. I mean, I like that energy.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
And she was happy. Elise said she was happy that Jules wasn't upset after Will died.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think so. They only been married. I mean, together for what, 3 months?
Yeah, but you're about to marry this dude. Like, I feel like she's probably still in shock.
Yeah.
It'll probably hit her later, like.
That does happen.
Yeah. Well, that I was
Like,
sleeping
right now
next
she's
to her.
angry. When that angry subsides, then you like.
It sets
Yeah.
in. Yep.
We'll go through all the stages of mourning.
He's
right?
definitely
There's
going to need
grief.
counseling.
Oh, well, they all do. I think anybody who was there.
Oh, Alana found the book. She said it was The Argument.
The Argument.
Oh,
I don't
The
even remember that.
Argument.
What was that about?
I thought I read that one with y'all. I don't know.
I don't
You
remember.
probably did. Go ahead, Alana. I'll
I'm
look
sure,
it up.
Alana. Yeah. I wouldn't. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the one I was thinking of. Like, I
don't even remember
imagine
that
the
one.
two women plotted to make it look like an accident. The one I'm thinking of, then maybe. That
Oh,
was,
I remember The Argument. Wasn't that the one with when they were in that like in Europe or something, and it was the daughter, and she was trying to get away from the dad or something.
I don't remember.
I don't
But what
remember.
you?
And
Well,
at
I was
the
gonna
end,
say,
I think the man died.
maybe. Dari, what you were saying, it was reminding me of a country song by Carrie Underwood.
Oh, really?
Oh, she said it's okay. She said that it's when the mom and dad, and it's the story. Yep, the mom and dad had the girl trapped in the house. Remember the girl was trapped in the house, and in the end.
Oh yes, she had her chained. They had her chained to the bed, and then there was another sister. Oh, the father dies, right?
Oh, she said that was my sister, the serial killer, or something like that. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, the story took place in a country in Africa. My sister, the serial killer.
No, but I do remember somebody being chained in the bed now to the bed.
Yeah, I do remember that
sister.
one.
Yes.
Right. But my sister, the serial killer, they do conspire. The sisters conspired. They do kill him. Okay, that is true. It didn't come up in my memory today, though, when I was thinking about this and the ending.
Yeah.
But
But you're right. I mean, it's not that common. I mean, I was thinking, like, when have we ever? Yeah. I mean, that was the only one I could think of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The country song.
The
country song is like a woman and the mistress. They put something in his Tennessee whiskey, and they all show up, and two black Cadillacs show up, and they say goodbye to him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey,
and now is that called polyamorous?
Well, I mean, I think everybody has to dial into that, though. I think everybody has to. It has to be common agreement. It can't be like I went. There's a consensus building activity. I have read about it because I needed to know more about it. Should I be confronted with stakeholders that are participating in such situations?
Yes.
Situationship as such.
So,
entanglements. Yes. So,
entanglements.
Yeah.
Entanglements.
So this is just the nerd in me, as we're finishing up, to the earlier point. There is a book. I have recommended it a lot. Because I'm just starting it. It's called What Happened to You? And it's by Dr. Perry and Oprah. And it's really about, there's like a quiz in there because really many people in society, so just move out of the United States even, have had like 1 or 2 or 3 of these things happen, which do create some of our behaviors. So there's an explanation for our behavior or why we do what we do or why we don't do what we don't do. And so it's trending now on the New York Times bestseller list. Obviously, Oprah is, Oprah. And this doctor that she had on her show in the 90s, they've come together. They're podcasting and doing all this stuff. But it's very, very interesting. because when we read these books and, you know, we like, what is it in us that makes us like these psychological thrillers? And like, I said, oh, this island, all this stuff made me think about a beach read. Like, but was this really a beach read, Keisha? Like, I'm asking for a friend. Like, was it? I don't know. Like, what made you feel good about the event planner being the one in control? Because I have control issues. Like,
No, you.
Me, right? You know, I'll hijack your event in a minute if you let me. So, you know, what is that?
And I'll
about?
always let you.
Yeah, I know. I just sent you some things for feedback.
Okay, thank you.
But you know, like that's the thing. That's the thing about me. So I'm owning that of my own journey. So I offer that to you, my beloveds here, to figure out what really happened, because something always does.
I agree with you. I just think it's so interesting that we are at a point in time where people are looking for explanations for behavior that how do I explain this? You know how they did like the whole thing on the Joker, that movie on the Joker, like here are all these bad things that happened to him when he was younger, and here's why he's the way he is. Like there's this thing going on where people want to understand why the villain is so villainous.
Yes.
And the opposite isn't happening. So all the wonderful people like you, Keisha, that are so giving and so like, you know, just embracing of everybody. Nobody's inspecting where that came from. So that's all I'm saying.
It's interesting.
I'm saying there's not an equal balance in like this. Let's go back and figure out why this person is how they are. It's only when there's bad. It's like when there's negative implications.
Right.
Well, we do try to figure out why the victim is the victim, because a lot of victims are repeat victims. And then you do figure out like, well, why are they always the victim? So I don't know. And I think for Keisha, like someone loved on her. I mean, I think that's what it is. I don't know.
I just think it's interesting. It's like how much of a balance is there to inspecting? Like, why are we inspecting what we're inspecting? It's typically because there's something bad going on.
Right.
Wait, can it be to change your behavior? Like I would think I want to know what happened to me so that I could know why I do what I do and change my behavior. Like I know Lisa put that book on hold before I did, so I have to wait. But I have that book on hold because I don't know. I feel like I can learn and grow and be better.
Yeah. But the thing is that, you know, like the openness, right? Like the whole idea when you, again, plotting and planning, whatever the opportunity is for one, seeking revenge, is that what we should do? Question mark. Where did that come from? From some rage, anger, whatever. We may or may not have experienced that, but we know that that's like an emotion that comes from something. And then how do you quell it, or how do you improve it or fix it or change it, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Alana's been texting. I've been texting her back because I didn't want to interrupt you guys. But she was saying that you could be a little bit of both. And she's the type of person that wanted to save the world. And she loves a good psychological thriller and reading about serial killers too. So
right. You can be a little bit of both. Right. Exactly. I think that's probably where I am too. I like it. It's thrilling, thrill seeking. And maybe it's just a touch of danger without doing the danger myself.
And you don't have to think that hard with these. I mean,
vicarious,
it's just like
right, the vicarious nature of when.
But this is the way we like our movies too. Like I'm a movie person. I've been more of a movie person than a book person most of my life, and that's why I say some movies are predictable. And that's why I'm like, okay, I'm starting to like the book club because it's not as predictable every single time. Yeah,
that's good. Like and that's a different perspective that, you know, you're bringing, like, you know, you can see yourself, you know, being stretched, so to speak, and you want it, like you want that. That's cool.
The other thing about books versus movies to me is like, you're so much more free in books to have your own personal experience with it and let your mind go in different directions. Whereas movies are like, you are consuming what the director, what the producer, like, they want you to feel and think, and within a certain amount of time, boom, done.
True.
Books have a lot more freedom, like more degrees of freedom.
Well, you create your own picture of what people look like. Like I
Yeah.
thought Will was black all this time. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was some buff, light-skinned
Exactly.
black boy. I don't know.
And
I love
Alana
that.
wanted me to state on the record she would never do any of these types of things.
Absolutely never.
Of
But
course
some
not.
things I would do more of. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, totally. So listen, ladies, guess what Tuesday is? It's June. Okay. We're stepping into June 2021.
Yeah.
Our next book up, I just looked it up. Our next book up is Jess Ryder, who we totally like. She can be it could be a little bit, gritty and fingernail biting. But the book that we have for June is called The Girl You Gave Away. So that should be interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does. It sounds very intriguing.
But Jess Ryder, we've read a few of her books, and they always leave us with very good conversation. So I assume that will be the same with this Jess Ryder book as well. As always, Daria will share the dates of our time when we're going to be live with you on YouTube, and we're wishing everybody a Memorial Day weekend filled with all the things that make your Memorial Day memorable. We all celebrate in many different ways, so can't say which way you'll celebrate, but or judge it or whatever. Just saying, some of us will spring clean, some of us will binge watch some shows, some of us may sit.
Some
at
of
a
us
bar
will wonder
stool.
why are we going to war with people and not minding our business, and then acting like we're the victims and waving a flag. I'm just.
And some of us will just, toast those who are in our memory at a bar stool, which is now open and available to those who like bar stools, like me. So,
What day does that start, Keisha? Tomorrow?
No, the bar has been open. The bar stool has been open for about 3 weeks now.
When are there no masks? And
tomorrow
no
tomorrow in New Jersey, 100% in New Jersey, everything's like open. Except schools have masks still.
And I think clinical healthcare settings, right?
Healthcare settings, the plane until September 3rd per FAA.
And apparently any business that still wants to require masks.
Right. And my son works in retail, and they could take their masks off tomorrow in retail here in our county. So that's happening. So, lots of decisions out there, lots of conversation about continued vaccination. Don't know where you all are on your perspective of that, but this is the YouTube. So
are you guys going to take your mask off?
No, I'm black.
I'm not either.
I'm going to use my discretion. If I feel like I'm in too crowded of a place or space, I'm going to keep my mask on, because I do know that everyone's comorbidities are different. And so, I live in a compromised household. I mean, not only am I a Black woman, but I live with others too that, so yeah, I mean, I feel like we've been doing it for 14 months. Like, I'm fine with it.
I feel like the mask is a political statement now, A, and B, it's not going to stop us from getting COVID. Like, you might not be in a hospital, but then I know I heard of someone that had the vaccine and is in the hospital.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a real thing too.
Yeah, it can still happen.
Yeah.
And I would take it off if I love you, your loved one, something like that. But
yeah, like if I'm in a comfortable place or whatever. But
it's situation.
I thought it's a situation that you have to use your discretion, because we're just trying to make it through. I mean, we need to get to the nursing home to tell these stories about our social media existence. Nobody will believe us. How will they even play YouTube by that time? Who even knows? But we're doing it for us. It's our own chronicle and journal of our journey and friendship. So, ladies, it's been a pleasure. As always,
yes.
lift me up, bring me light and love, and I appreciate you. And so we're going to sign off now. And you know how we do that. What do we say all the time? Don't let Esther live this book again. There was a death and a murder and all that. But, keep
live
reading.
The scenery, live the cave, live the water, live the beach area, live the boat throwing up. That would be me.
Live the book. Isn't that what we say?
Right. We say, don't forget to live the book. Right. Exactly. Take a trip to Ireland, maybe. Right. That part. So maybe it's a pretty country, I hear. Hope to get around to you, the Europe and all that it's cracked up to be one day.